Aric, people have been trying to call us this week. Where have you been?
Out buying homes.
That's what we're talking about today.
Welcome to the Utah Real Estate Show podcast, the show where two agents and a lender teach real estate best practices by talking through mistakes we've seen and made.
And that's where the investing idea came from, and we saw one of the big fruits of it. We took a big step with this because we have rental properties here local.
Yeah.
But we wanted more financial freedom.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Utah Real Estate Show. I am Tyler Cazier, Utah Real Estate Agent.
Aric Wiszt, Utah Real Estate Agent.
I think we might have to amend that because we're not talking about real estate agency today. We're talking about investing today.
It's true. But we were called the Utah Boys the whole weekend.
That's true. We were the Utah Boys. So we want to break down a little trip. You guys probably noticed that we did not post an episode last week. That is because we were not here. We were traveling. And so we're going to talk a little bit about this trip. We're going to talk about what we did. We're going to tell you why we did it and a little bit about how we did it. And if you're interested, you should call us and talk to us about this experience because there's only so much we can broadcast. But one-on-one, we can tell you a lot more. Mm-hmm. Okay, so first, Aric, why? The big question about all of this is why the heck did we go on this trip?
Financial freedom. It's a great question because that's where this all started, and branching off from just your day-to-day real estate of we wanted more. And I want passive income for my family so I could spend more time with my family. I saw a very interesting quote. I got to read it real quick. It says, normal is getting dressed in clothes that you buy for work and driving through traffic in a car that you are still paying for in order to get to the job you need to pay for the clothes and the car and the house you leave vacant all day so you can afford to live in it. and it's ridiculous, but the majority of the people are out there, that's what happens. I did it, and there's nothing wrong with it, but I wanted more. And that's where the investing idea came from, and we saw one of the big fruits of it. We took a big step with this because we have rental properties here local. Yeah. But we wanted more financial freedom. And so where'd we go?
Well, before we get to that, I think we wanted something a little different too, because here in Utah we have huge appreciation. But it's unpredictable. That's the hard thing. And really where we're coming into 2022, there's a lot of changes on the horizon. We don't know what the appreciation will be on these properties anymore. But cash flow is a lot more predictable.
Well, and with that right there, this is our investment strategy. Everybody has their own. Everybody has their own needs of where they want to go.
Right.
Equity is great. It's awesome. You actually make more money than cash flow, but it is harder to access when you want. So we're looking at that for more long-term gains, and we wanted more cash flow. So we started researching.
And that is my job. I'm the analyst in this little party here, and I don't mind admitting it. I'm a nerd, people. If you haven't figured that out by now, you don't know who I am. Mm-hmm. So I started looking at different areas, and I started by looking at, is there job growth? Is there population growth? What is the median price of the home? What are the rents in that area? So there's quite a bit of information. One of the things that we were looking at as well is if there is infrastructure development by the city itself. And we selected, we're not going to go too specific. We'll say we selected the state, right? Mm-hmm. The state was Indiana. And we found this early on in our research, which is to say early on in my research. I'm the only nerd that's looking at markets like this.
That was like almost 10 months ago.
That was a while ago, yes. And we have been diving into this and researching it, running the history, which is fascinating actually, and then going through all the different ways that we can operate in this market. And then we decided, okay, once we decided, and this is the part that I love, once we decided, Aric, what did we do? We sit there like we bump on a log and hang out for time.
Well, and that was the funny part about it is he's great at analyzing it. I'm very impatient. No. And he finally came and said, this is it. I've narrowed it down to this. Everything is checking all the boxes. This is it. And I said, great, let's go. And Tyler's like, now? Yeah.
Like now?
Now. And in the process of this, we had started making phone calls to people in the area. We started looking at different investment groups. We contacted agents, property managers, lawyers, other agents, investors, just a countless of people. And we had Zoom calls, we had all this other stuff. Mm-hmm. And there was a little hint in all of their voices that was like,
You're not
oh,
really
great.
Just another out-of-stater.
Yep. And we knew that's not what we wanted. And so I said, Tyler, let's go next week. Let's go. So we booked flights, got an Airbnb, got the rental car, set up, and then we called all the guys back there and said, hey, we're coming into town in 2 days. We're meeting with everybody. And they went, oh, yeah, let's do this. And they set it up. We had meetings from 7 a.m. until, 10 is like, I swear it's every time we got back to the hotel.
Yeah, it was late every time we got back. But we went all day long. Mm-hmm. And our agent was freaking amazing. This is why you hire an agent. We're agents here in Utah, and we recognize the value of having a local professional. We did not rely on our skills here because I don't know the market.
Well, and that brings up that first good point when you're starting to invest is if you're going out of state or even local, find somebody that knows the area and the niche of what you're trying to do. We could have easily gone out there and done it ourselves because you don't have to be an agent to buy. No. You can do it on yourself. Yeah. But we don't know the area. We don't know the rentals, the rates, the zip codes, which we'll get into another thing here in a minute.
That's hilarious.
And so we sought out a bulldog and we got him and he lived up to it every step of the way.
Yeah. On the second day we were there, our bulldog, freaking awesome agent, pulled up to a house. He goes, meet me at this house. We didn't even know. But we found out that this was his childhood home that he had purchased in a tax sale. Mm-hmm. And was rehabbing that property. So we show up to this property. We're parked outside the house. He lets us in. He shows us what he's doing. And then we go on this whirlwind tour where we saw probably over 10 properties.
Yeah.
We burned through so many properties. We hit every zip code in that city, which is amazing. He took us through commercial builds. He took us through rehab at like a 100-unit apartment complex that was being rehabbed that we went through. He took us to an old building built in like the 1800s.
Commercials, yeah.
And all the levels up above, we went through that. That was an awesome tour. And then we started dialing in, like, these are the kind of properties that we want to look at. These are the type of things we want to see. And from there, we got really excited.
We got really excited because he developed a strategy and plan for us and said, hey, look, these are who you need to talk to. And we met with 3 property managers out there. We tried to get more, but unfortunately they had just a nutty storm come through the day before we got there. And there were trees down, they hit record winds, but a lot of the property managers were busy taking care of issues. But we met 3 killer property managers and they were all really good, but they were all slightly different.
Yeah, just a little.
And that was good. It was actually, it sucked because they were all really good.
Yes.
But it was good to see that they were all different. And that's what we want to get the point across is you have to know what you're looking for, know the style of what you're wanting, and find out which one suits it best. So we met with them.
By the way, if you've been thinking about investing and you don't really know, hey, what's my style? Like if you've ever asked, hey, what's my investment style? Talk to an agent, talk to us.
Yeah, call us.
Talk to an investor because this is how we started to refine. We started just kicking ideas off each other and we didn't really know what kind of investors we wanted to be. Mm-hmm. But it became clear over time as we were working on this.
And so, you can shoot us a DM. We can have a phone call if you're out of way. If you're local, we'll take you to breakfast or lunch or you can take us. And we'll chat. Like we're free with that info because that's what was one of the beauties of where we went. They also were very generous with their information. And I can't thank them enough for that. Like it made the whole trip worthwhile because not only were we going out there to look at properties, but we wanted to develop relationships. The friends that we're going to make was awesome. We know that those are going to provide better deals and more fun deals as time progresses.
Yeah, because we said this over and over and over again. We want to build the network before we get any deals. Mm-hmm. And everyone we spoke to got a version of that message. And by the end of our 4 days out there, everybody was our friend. Like everyone we went to the investment RIA, the real estate, that REIA, Real Estate Investors Association. Every area has one. Utah County has one. That's where we are right now. This location in Indiana had one. And so we specifically went during the time they were going to have their meeting. Yeah. That's part of what drove our timeline. We went during that timeline and we met everybody who has a pulse in real estate. We met every one of them. And it was one of the most effective, efficient networking events I've ever been to.
Yeah. And they all, you could see when we talked to them, they all kind of asked the same questions that we've asked you guys. First, they started off as why are you doing this? What's your drive? Who have you talked to already? What kind of network are you building? How much do you know? Are you a beginner? Are you an intermediate? Where are you at? And then let's build a strategy. And that's and we had those questions or those answers already ready for them because we asked those same ones, and they were like, awesome. Well, you know this, this, and this. Let's do this, this, and this. And so as we toured properties, we ran numbers, we evaluated stuff. We evaluated a 450 unit apartment complex.
That was a little much for us.
It was huge, but we looked at it and we were gaining interest off it. And we have some investors that might be interested in something large. We can't support that, but we know other people who can. But we did that all the way down to a small single family, super cheap. Needs tons of rehab to go about it. But the one thing I wanted to bring back up with having a professional local there, it was comical, but the zip codes that they have there are very small zip codes. The whole time while we were there, they're like, okay, if you're going to buy in the 06, you do this. 05 here, stay away from the 08. One the 415 here, and then we popped. Did I hear a niner? Like it was like we divided up in north, south, east, west. This is how we divided the city up. And within those, there was like 3 or 4 categories in there. But they showed us those and how they were very different. But those differences actually change which property manager is going to use it there. What type of rents are you going to expect? What type of clientele you're going to expect as far as renters? What kind of appreciation are you going to expect? All of these things changed, and then we had ones like we found a good property over here, and the one property manager said, "Don't go there. Don't do it. The house may look nice. It's this, that, but there's no industry to support it, and you're not going to have your renters." And I'm telling you right now, we don't do it. And we went, "Okay, we trust you." We don't know the area.
I had researched the city itself, but I did not research the satellite cities. And the satellite cities often have a difficulty with diversity of employment. And that's one of the things that I don't think I mentioned that earlier on. One of the things we looked at was diversity of employment, and this one was beautifully diverse, which means if any one industry goes down, if something happens,
still there,
then it's still there. Going. You still have rental demand, and that was a big deal to us. Let's kind of wrap up our trip here.
Okay.
Right? We got down toward the end of our trip, and we had been, I think Aric said it, we'd been going 7 a.m. to like 9 p.m., 10 p.m. at night with dinners, lunches, breakfast, meetings in between, Zoom calls, everything else. And we were getting down toward the end of our stay. We had wanted to take something out of this city. What was it that we wanted before we left?
Oh, we wanted a property.
Heck yeah!
That was always a cool goal, but we weren't going to rush it because we didn't want to force it. But it was always like we kept talking like, it'd be super cool to do this. Well, it'd be super cool. Yeah, well, it's probably not going to happen because we haven't found something. And we were actually driving back to the airport because we had a several-hour drive to get back to the airport. And our awesome agent there calls us and sends us a text with information. He goes, "Dude, this duplex just hit the market like hours ago. I already know which area it's in." He already knew the city, like the neighborhood.
Which zip code it was in.
Zip code. He had already driven by. He had already done a couple of videos, sent it to us and goes, "This is the property for you guys. This is it." And so we ran numbers on the phone quickly. We hadn't seen it. We still haven't seen it in person. He went, "Let's do it." And we said, let's do it. And so he wrote up a contract. Tyler signed it while we were driving. And so we got ourselves a property. We close in days.
The whole contract start to finish will be 6 days.
Yeah.
Including weekends.
Yep.
And so this is a cash deal, and it is an awesome deal. And talk about making a splash when you move into a RIA. Everybody in this city is talking about the Utah boys who came to town, who everyone doubted was maybe very serious before we came to town. But once we showed up in the town and started talking to people, that whole perspective shifted, and people were coming out of the woodwork, inviting us to their homes and telling us, I have this deal for you. It might work for you. It might not. Take a look. And so we started evaluating all these deals. And we evaluated several deals, but it ultimately was our agent who knew the area, who knew what was going on, who met with us and spent several hours with us on the phone before we went, and then hours while we were there, who introduced us to all these people in real estate. It was him who came up with the deal and said, you know what, guys? I think based on what I know about you and what we've been doing, this is going to be a good deal.
Yeah.
And it was.
And so then we sat there and went, awesome. This is sweet. We locked up a property. We're continuing to move forward. And then we continue to send other properties. He's already sent us 2 more. Says start evaluating them. 2 of them, we kicked back and said, this one's not right for us. This isn't what we're looking for. And so he's narrowing down because he's trying to find exactly what we want. And the only way he can do that is by sending us properties and numbers for us to evaluate. And so he's...
And having us evaluate them and send them back. If you're going to take up an agent's time and ask him to send you deals, the least you can do is look through those deals and say, this is right for me or this is wrong for me because.
Yep.
And that because, fill in the blank, whatever that is, I committed to my agent, and this is one of the reasons he knew that we were serious. I said, I will evaluate every single deal that you send to me, and I will tell you thumbs up, thumbs down, and why if it's a thumbs down.
And so he knows that we're moving forward. And it's something that, like, we can go into way more details. This video will be way too long. So, I mean, if you're interested in hearing more or having us try to coach you through it or how to invest or, hey, I know the question that we get all the time is, well, I can't afford to invest. I can't buy something like that. And I go, cool, neither can I. I mean, just a quick backstory. Our first investment together, we started 4 years ago. We all threw in like $2,000 and we bought a mobile home out of state with another agent. We flipped it and sold it, and we doubled our money. And we learned things that we liked and learned things that we didn't like, but we started somewhere. And that's the point, like, I want to get through in this video is have a dream of what you're wanting and commit to do it. There's nothing wrong with learning and taking stuff cautiously, but if you never take a step forward out of your comfort zone, you're never going to get a step closer to that dream. You have to take a step. And if you don't have a ton of money, that is fine. We can help you, show you different ways to invest to at least get you started, because we met somebody back there who's been in real estate for 20 something years, and she knows all of these deals that are happening, and she looked at us and goes, I will not invest in real estate and hold rentals. And we looked at her and went, are you crazy? Why? Like, you know these deals. And she goes, I can't mentally handle it. I tried it and I could not handle knowing that someone was living in a home that I own. And she was out. She's like, I'm out. I'm not going to do it. And so we want you to understand and try that. And there's ways to do that without committing to super long. There's different ideas. So reach out to us. We can set up some time.
With that lady, she probably is fine holding a dividend stock.
Yeah.
She's probably fine holding a CD, a certificate of deposit. But like I said, there's different ways to enter the real estate world and not be a landlord. There's a lot of ways to do it.
There's ways to minimize your risk.
Yeah. Minimize your risk, change your profit profile, change your tax structure. There's all kinds of benefits, but you got to start somewhere. One of the things before we close, I just want to say this, because Aric and I went out with the mentality that we were going to find a deal. Like we felt like we wanted to do that. But above all, we wanted to find a lot of who's that were helping us. I recently read a book called Who Not How. I love that book. It talks about how you should not go and be the thing, right? Don't be the thing. Find a who that is the thing and hire them to do the thing they love, right? That is this story of the success story that we are talking about here. We found a who that was a great agent. We found a who that was a great title person. We found multiple who's that were amazing property managers.
Found a lawyer.
We found a great lawyer. We found rehab contractors, people who are going to go build our stuff for us. We found all kinds of people, right? Aric and I are not going to go out there and babysit these properties. We hired the right who to go out and find the things that we didn't have time to go and do. And And now we have a property.
Yep.
It's freaking awesome. If you're looking at your investment profile and you're trying to decide how to make it happen, you're asking the wrong question. Ask, who can I use to make this happen?
Yeah, and then to wrap this up, I love that we're doing this right now because I'm getting tons of friends that have asked, why are you investing in real estate right now? Our market is burning to the ground. And I just laugh and say, great, don't buy anything so I can buy it all.
Yeah.
Because
I'll buy
it doesn't matter which market you're in, there's a way and a strategy to analyze each and every one. And if you think that investments right now are not a good deal and everything is coming to a screeching halt, you're in for a rude awakening. Because investments happen every single day of the year in every single type of market.
All right, well, what did we learn today? I never get to ask that question. What did we learn today?
Relationships are important. And just like what Tyler said, know the who, find the who, find somebody that can do that work, build that relationship, build that team, and take that first step in trusting them to help make you go forward towards your dream.
And my key takeaway is that you need a purpose for your investing, but right behind that purpose, you need a great network of people. And we were blessed to be able to go out and find this amazing group of people and spend our time rubbing shoulders with some really, really great people. I was so happy I went.
Tyler.
Yeah.
So what did we accomplish this past week?
We bought a freaking duplex! Yeah!
Come ask us how, drop a comment, share it, DM us. Let's figure out how we can help you.
If you want to get in touch with us, shoot us a text at 801-228-7687. Make sure you mention the show. You can email us at theutahrealestateshow@gmail.com. You can watch this show on YouTube, and you can listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. If you learned something, or if you really love this show, give us a like on YouTube and drop a rating on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen. The Utah Real Estate Show is a production of Hive Collective at Presidio Real Estate with support from Security Home Mortgage. The NMLS number for Security Home Mortgage is 178787. The NMLS number for Jason Christiansen is 240472, Equal Housing Lender. Not only is this not legal or investment advice, but you should definitely talk to a pro before you make any real estate decision. Every situation is different and should be considered in context. Copyright Jason Christiansen, Aric Wiszt, and Tyler Cazier. All rights reserved. Talk to you next week.
Can you give me a little? We already are in the Rio in one bed.
We gotta talk about that too. This is a lot more relaxed than we usually are. I like it.
It's good.